this is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com, and I want to talk to you about what would be the bill that I'd propose regarding sort of healthcare reform if I were to propose a bill to repeal the Affordable Care Act and then replace the Affordable Care Act. So basically a bill, and again, this is not a bill that solves every problem within the healthcare system, but I think one that pushes things in the right direction with a strong push would be made up of three things. First, a rainy day account, which is an idea that I pushed heavily when I ran for U.S. Senate back in 2016. And the idea behind the rainy day account is you get rid of IRAs, you get rid of 529 college savings plans, you get rid of health savings accounts, and you just have this one rainy day account where you're allowed to put 10% of your income pre-tax, which then can be invested and it can grow tax deferred, and then that growth can be spent tax-free on medical expenses, on education, on maternity and paternity care, basically all sort of the unexpecteds of life. So the idea is just to create this account that incentivizes savings and planning for tomorrow in general. So that helps create a pot of money that people can use towards healthcare and other things. 2, a 0% tax rate for any insurance company that voluntarily chooses to be held to guaranteed issue. So basically this whole idea of guaranteed issue of saying you have to insure people with pre-existing conditions is no longer mandatory, but there's a huge carrot to those who choose to actually embrace it and be held to that standard. So basically, if you're held to that standard, you get a 0% corporate tax rate. But that means if anyone brings up charges of you kicking them off because of some conditions they took on, or you're denying people because of conditions that they have, and not able to provide some sort of insurance coverage to them, you basically lose this benefit, and there'll probably be maybe a penalty for that as well, or something like that, okay? You would just go back to your normal tax rates that all other businesses pay. But the idea is that this incentivizes insurance companies to try to come up with a way to make guaranteed issue work. Then they might try different things, and who knows, they might come up with something very innovative. They may actually work with other insurance companies to create sort of maybe a joint risk pool between different insurance companies, so that way they can all enjoy the lower tax rates and still provide people with insurance by sharing the risk between each other. There's also the different possible models that could happen if you allow them to kind of figure it out, so that with this prize at the other end. And number 3 is a $6,000 tax credit that can be used for any health expenses. Because right now everything's always geared towards you buying health insurance. But I'd rather have people more directly involved in all their healthcare expenses, and also health expenses that are not necessarily directly medical in nature, but can help be preventative or can just be alternative medicine. So the $6,000 tax credit could be used to pay for your health insurance premiums, your health insurance deductibles, your health insurance copays, but the $6,000 tax credit can also be used towards buying medicine, over-the-counter and prescription, for surgeries, elective and medical. So basically things like LASIK surgery, gender reassignment surgery could be used with this tax credit because it's what you decide to use it for. It's your health choices, but it's $6,000. You decide how you want to prioritize your health expenses. And then plus, to get more bang for your buck, you're going to want to find a balance between quality and cost, because you want to get the most healthcare services for that $6,000 credit. And then, but again, you can use it for any kind of healthcare. And the only issue, the only thing to debate regarding this healthcare credit is whether it should be refundable or not. And if you don't understand what it means to have a refundable tax credit, is that if you have a tax credit that's refundable and it results in you having a negative tax bill, that you actually get money back. The issue that people have with refundable tax credits is that technically they are redistribution of wealth, because then you didn't owe tax money, but you're receiving money, which means you're receiving technically somebody else's money. But is the benefit of being able to drive a more consumer-oriented market at all income levels? Because if you allow someone with a very low income to have this $6,000 tax credit as refundable, because if it's not refundable, the benefit, or at least the incentive for those lower income people to become more directly involved in their healthcare is going to be minimal, because their tax bill wasn't big enough to really benefit from the $6,000 tax credit in the first place. But if it's refundable, then they're going to get something back. So then it does kind of, that incentive for them to be more involved in the healthcare decisions does kick in at all income levels, which is something to consider as far as trying to push healthcare more towards a more market-oriented direction, where you can have the incentives for innovation not innovation just of the technology to diagnose, but also incentives in the way we deliver payment, the way we deliver insurance, the way we deliver care, and the quality of care and the quality of experience of that care. So while there's a lot of incentives for innovating new technology, there has been very little incentives of innovating the experience for the healthcare consumer, innovating the payment process for the healthcare consumer over so many years, because those things have been kind of taken out of the experience or the way payment occurs. So that would be my healthcare plan. I think that would be the first step. Of course, there needs to be things like intellectual property reform, reform of the drug approval process with the FDA, and all that other stuff. But I think this at least empowers consumers and gets consumers more directly involved in their market decisions in healthcare, so that other stuff can be on the table. My name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com, and hopefully you guys enjoy the Merced healthcare plan. We'll call it the MHCA, MUCA, the Merced Healthcare Act, I guess. I don't know. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great one.